Well, good day, YouTube, and welcome to another episode of the Albino Rhino beer review. Today you have the Rhino. Let's do my shirt up, shall we? And we are drinking a beer. Today's beers are over beside me on the staircase. That's right, on the staircase. Can I reach my McDonald's glass? Oh, just barely. This is the Barbie glass from 1999. I have the Hot Wheels glass now, too. I want the Grimace glass. I want the Grimace glass, man. Today's beer is from Church Brewing Company in Nova Scotia, Wolfville, Nova Scotia at that. This is 6.5% alcohol by volume, and it is 902 East Coast IPA. Is that the area code in Wolfville, Nova Scotia? I ask because 905 was the original area code for St. Catharines, and I always find it funny that area codes just seem to be just random, right? So if 902 is Wolfville, why is 905 Saskatchewan? Saskatchewan. Why is 905 St. Catharines / Niagara region? And then 416 is Toronto, and then 613 is the Ottawa area, and then 547 is Montreal, and 306 is basically the entire province of Saskatchewan. Just stuff like that, right? I wonder about weird things. So let's try 902 East Coast IPA. Now, I'm not usually a big fan of East Coast IPAs, but I needed 12 beers, and this was a beer. So this is the beer I got. I think that's the only problem with the cross Canada shipping stuff is a lot of them do make a minimum on the amount of beers because it's just easier for them to package it. You just fit all the boxes. Well, you fit all the cans in the box, you ship the box, and nothing moves around. So I get it, but sometimes you just want one or two beers, and if somebody's willing to pay the shipping, maybe it's worthwhile, but I'm okay with buying the 12 as well, because a lot of times when I find a brewery in Nova Scotia or somewhere else that ships cross country, it's a brewery I haven't had anything from in the past, so I can easily go, hey, let's buy one of everything. It makes it harder for the breweries I really like say Tatamagouche, because I have to wait until they have... I wait until there's at least 8 new beers out, and then if I have to order one extra of a few others, or something that I've had before that I really know I like, then that's something else. A few of the breweries in Nova Scotia are willing to ship across Canada regardless of the minimum, but you will have between a $30 and $50 shipping fee. So depending on how interested you are in trying new beer, there is always that option to go as well. So it's a fairly clear beer. Golden color, bright white head, but it's very frothy. I can't check for Snap Crackle Pop tonight. Now I did have a comment, that I don't just read the cans anymore, and you're right. I don't read a lot of cans anymore, and the reason I don't read cans anymore is a lot of craft breweries have changed. As you see, there is not much information on this can to read. You have calling Nova Scotia home. Oh, so Nova Scotia's having one of those call you home things. Okay. Newfoundland had one recently where they were like, come home to Newfoundland, visit your family. So proudly brewed in Nova Scotia, Canada, calling Nova Scotia home. 902 is your East Coast IPA. Soft, juicy, and perfectly balanced. Dial one up today. Church Brewing Company. There's nothing to read on these anymore. And if you're like, well, that's just that can. I had a beer tonight. I didn't have to review this. I'm trying to drink these. It just says Minhaus Lager. That's all it has. It has nothing on it. I have 2 other reviews tonight. There's nothing but the address on here, so there's nothing to read. This is how the beer industry has changed. They've realized that having like a big old spiel on the can isn't always the greatest thing. I know some beers do have it, and a lot of times I don't read it because the coloration isn't very good. But a lot of beers just don't have anything anymore. Another one. This one has to go to the recycling. That's why it's over here. This has this info, that like there's not much on these cans anymore, and that's the main reason they don't get read anymore. So I don't actually mind that because I'm blind as a motherfucking bat. Squinting at these cans gets old. Especially because I always have, why are you holding the can so close to your face? Get some glasses. Do this, do. So no, I don't read the cans as much as I used to. And the other comment on this, and I'm not calling you out because I know you watch a lot of my videos. I answer things because sometimes more than one person has brought things up. And then somebody that I've interacted with a whole bunch brings it up, so I decide to hit it then and there. And it was back when you used to read the cans, back when you could tell it was all about the beer and you really enjoyed yourself. It's still all about the beer. If it wasn't all about the beer for doing the beer review, I just wouldn't do the beer review. The thing is that when I was married to, and I know she hits me up with this in court every time her name is brought up. I'm not, apparently I'm not allowed to ever admit to having anything to do with her. But whenever I was married to Christy, my ex-wife, and you saw me do a beer review, I seemed to be very, very into it, yes. But remember, I had severe depression, I had anxiety, I was suffering from borderline personality disorder, I had a lot of trauma from my childhood I didn't take care of, and I was using the beer review as my escape from reality, my escape from the life I had. So I threw everything into it. And now I'm with the girl I've been in love with since high school. I'm always trying to better myself, in that I'm always trying to get myself to the point that I wish I had always been at. Trying to get out of the debt cycle, trying to get out of this, trying to get out of that, trying to be able to live a very minimalistic but happy life. And I say that as I'm sitting around a whole bunch of handmade charred wood wall panels, handmade by a blind man. Anyway, but so yeah, I don't put as much editing into things. It's not that I don't have a love for the thing. It's that I also have a love for my family, and I realize that drinking myself to death and then playing on the computer editing those videos for 10 to 20 views just isn't worthwhile when I have kids and a wife and dogs and a house and everything else that I need to take care of. So now that it's had time to settle, let's give her a sniff. Not much of a smell out of the glass, but this is not the greatest glass for nosing a beer out of the can. Okay. Out of the can, there's a little bit of pininess and a little bit of grapefruit. Kind of what you'd expect for an East Coast Pale Ale. Also a little bit of earthiness. Again, kind of what you expect, but let's try it. Cheers, sláinte, prost, all that fun stuff. Well, it goes down easy. But let's be honest, I'm a 42-year-old man of Irish descent whose other half, I'm basically 85% Irish and Scottish in descent, more Irish than Scottish in there, and then a little bit of Welsh, Norwegian, and English. And so beer is my blood. So it goes down for me. It might not go down for everybody. It is a little bitter. The bitterness is sitting on the back of my palate right now. Just sitting there. Just sitting there. Earthy, piney, resiny bitterness, almost like chewing on that caffeine pill. A little bit of sweetness up at the forefront, but not all that much. All in all, it's a beer. All in all, it's an East Coast Pale Ale. Well, IPA. All in all, it's a style I don't really like. All in all, there's no faults to the beer. How many more times can I say all in all? Oh, excuse me. I apologize. That tasted like pork chop. It's not a badly made beer. It's just not a beer I'm interested in. And that's 100% okay. There's no brewing faults. There's no off flavors. There's no gross flavors. It's just not a beer I could see myself drink more than this one time. Sure, again, I'm an Irishman. Well, I'm of Irish descent. I call myself an Irishman. Though I'm not from the island, my parents are. Well, my father is. I try my damnedest to follow the stuff that my grandmother tried to teach me and all that, and some of it's there. And that's why I say I'm an Irishman. But a beer was, my whole family has drank beer since they were knee-high to a grasshopper. And for that reason alone, I mean, I can't say I wouldn't drink it again. I just don't particularly care for it. So out of 10 on it, I'll give it a straight 5. It's not a bad beer. It's just not a style I like. It was great to try it. I've loved some beers from church. I've been okay with some beers from church. I've been indifferent with some beers from church. And that's exactly what you want out of a brewery, especially a new brewery. You want to have those ups and downs, because no brewery will ever be all ups. But I've had a few breweries that have basically been all downs. So to be right between those two, well, to be where you want to be, which is not all downs, things are great. Things are great. Now, the breweries that were all downs, it wouldn't have taken much to make a beer that would have not been a down. So I look for the breweries that have the ups and downs. And I especially appreciate the breweries that have the ups and downs where you can buy singles. And because then if they're down, just move on to the next beer. And that's what I'll do in this instance. 5 out of 10. Cheers. Bye-bye.